Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. If you enjoy our show, don't forget to help us out by subscribing to this podcast, sharing it with a friend, and providing us with a review on iTunes. Check out the show notes below for the link. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
With the prospect of tax reform passing before the end of 2017, I wanted to go ahead and talk about who are the largest tax accounting firms in the world. And the largest tax firms are obviously going to be the big four. But which one of them has the largest tax practices? And what do they do? Well, the tax lines of service of the big four, they do tax preparation services, tax consulting services, and tax financial audits. Now, as far as tax preparation, this includes services with helping companies and individuals meeting their tax obligations, such as filling out forms and complying with local tax laws. And there's obviously going to be a lot to do here if tax reform passes, as there will be new forms, new deductions, new income guidelines, and the big four will have to redo everything for all of their clients, whether they're individuals or large corporations. Another thing that the big four do is tax consulting services. And the largest tax firms offer tax consulting services, and this includes tax structuring, tax planning, and other tax consulting services to comply with local tax laws. And the last thing that the tax lines of service help with is the tax financial audit. And this service is where the largest audit firms call their tax practices in to help audit the tax portion of the financial statements. And this is going to be big implications with tax reform if it passes before year end, because all the large companies will have to update their financial statements for adjustments to the rate. And this is even for their 2017 financials, even though tax reform might not be effective until 2018. And this will keep not only the companies, but also the big four accounting firms' tax practices very busy over the next year if tax reform were to pass. Okay, now that we talked about what the tax lines of service do in the big four and what will happen if tax reform does pass, let's start ranking them. The first tax practice we're going to talk about is KPMG's. KPMG's tax practice earned $5.6 billion in 2016 from their global tax practice. And this makes them the fourth largest tax consulting firm in the world. And they have yet to report their 2017 numbers. Next up is Deloitte. Now, Deloitte's tax practice reported revenues of $7.35 billion in 2017. And this makes them the third largest tax practice in the world. And in 2016, they earned $6.9 billion of revenue from their tax practice. And they're the third largest tax practice in the world, even though they're the number one big four accounting firm in the world in terms of revenue. Now, next up is Ernst & Young. Ernst & Young's tax revenue in 2017 was $8.2 billion. And this is compared to their 2016 tax revenue of $7.8 billion. And this makes them the second largest tax accounting firm. And last but not least is PwC. PwC's tax services revenue in 2017 amounted to $9.5 billion. And this makes PwC the top tax firm in the world. And in 2016, they made $8.9 billion. So they've been the number one tax practice for a number of years now. And another thing that separates them from the others is that they've just acquired the GE's tax department in 2016. And this acquisition will generate a whole new stream of revenue for years to come. And this really puts them in a great position to respond to tax reform because they have 600 employees that came over with GE's tax department. So they already acquired all these new people, and all those people didn't necessarily have a ton of work to do. But now with tax reform, it looks like PwC has the additional headcount to put them head and shoulders above the rest. They're already over $1 billion ahead of all the other big four accounting firms. And now with this the acquisition of GE's tax department, it's only going to set them apart further. So with tax reform looming and all the changes happening in the worldwide tax environment nowadays, it looks like PwC is poised to be the number one tax consulting firm for years to come. To stay up to date on all the rankings of the big four accounting firms and all big four news, make sure to subscribe to this podcast.
We appreciate your help in growing this podcast so we can continue to bring you the best Big Four content possible. You could help us out by providing a review on iTunes, sending us an email with your comments, and don't forget to share with your friends. There's a link below in the show notes. That's our show for today. Thanks for listening and have a great day.